Tom Segura went off on his podcast about people, I don't know.
Or jealous, right? Or something.
Well, it's not even jealousy, you know, and it's about insecurity. It's a very big insecurity, and I had that insecurity for years, and that's what made me a thief, and in turn, it made me hate certain people. You know, when people have things you don't have, it makes you look at them a certain way. Either you look at them with, you know, I don't even know what the word is. Either you look at them and you're proud for them, maybe, happy, or you look at them and you say, why does that guy have that and I don't have that? Okay? You know, Tom did a video. There was a segment of his Two Bears, One Cave where he's like, whenever he gets a watch or a car, people reach out to him and say, you make me feel bad or whatever, jealousy or whatever he was talking about. And he made some great points. He made a point that he talked about your mental state, like what your mental state is. And dog, a lot of people are going to find that, like the two people who reached out to me actually reached out to me for me to like insert a negative comment. I had to look at it and think about it before I even brought it here, because it's a thing that we all have. When I was a fucking kid, I fucking hated most people who had shit I didn't have. I hated most people that had parents that were successful and were able to pass on things to their children. You always looked at those kids as weak or whatever, but it's not that. It's a jealousy that you have. You say they're going to be weak or they're spoiled. Yeah, fuck that. They give you... Guys, it doesn't fucking matter. What matters is you and how you do it. You know, I talked about Veneri the other day on the podcast, my dear friend that owns a funeral parlor. When we were kids, I hung out with Veneri's. And as I got older, I hung out with Anthony. You know how many nights they went out to a restaurant or a bar and got a steak and a couple beers, and I didn't have the $20 to get a fucking steak or the $30 to get a steak. I didn't have the money to get a beer. In fact, all my friends did that. And as I got older, yes, I got little jobs, bartending jobs, whatever. But when I would go on those things, one dinner and my check for the week would be over with. A dinner, a gram of Coke, and a few cocktails, you're fucking done. You're done. So the rest of the nights, when you go out with them and they're doing things you can't afford to do, yes, there's insecurity. Yes, you feel fucking shitty. Yes, like you're like, fuck that dude. He could have bought me a gram of Coke too. No. People aren't in business to buy you shit, and people aren't in business to worry about your feelings. Always remember that. You know, when I moved to New Jersey, towards the end of the church, it was very overwhelming. It was very overwhelming, and we'll pick it back. I'll tell you when it really started in my life. I got away from that. Like, listen, the mindset that Tom is talking about is that one day you go, you know what? You know, I don't have that. So instead of hating the fucking person or hating his parents or whatever you hate on, go, guess what? I'm going to make a mental note. That's what I want.
He said you were thinking like a loser.
Yes, that's what I want. That's what I want. And I got to figure out a way to get it. You know, when I was a kid, somebody said to me, what do you want in your life? What's your biggest goal? And I was like, I want, you know, when I was on Coke and shit, I want a Testarossa, one of those fucking cars with the wings and shit. And the guy's like, cut it out and put it on your wall and look at it every day. You know what that did for me? Nothing. That made me even more out of touch. Because what I needed to put on the wall was the picture of the Testarossa and how I was going to attain it. What steps I needed to do to attain it. You got to stay in more. You can't eat out every night. You know, you got to go to work 80 hours a week. Even to the littlest fucking note. Like, you know, how am I going to attain this fucking $300,000 car? At least that's what it was when I was looking at it. You know, so again, when I used to hang out with the, you know, Colorado, I met guys that were well, you know, I made fucking an hourly wage. I was a mutt. I had no high school diploma. You don't have no high school diploma, but then you want somebody to give you a fucking $30,000 car. It don't work that way. I wish it did. We all wish it did, right? But it don't work that way. So When I would be in those Boulder, when I moved to Boulder, you know how many fucking kids I hung out with in Boulder that I would go to lunch with them and they'd have a fucking Audi and they were 3 years younger than me. And I'm like, I got to ride my bike to meet you for lunch. And meanwhile, they have a fucking Audi and whatever. Their dad co-signed it, but they still had to make the fucking payments on it. So before you go raising your hand, you know how bad that makes you feel? Because I tell you, there's nothing worse to me. There's no worse feeling than being in your 20s. If you can make it out of your fucking 20s to your 30, I swear to God, if you can make it out of your 20 to your 30, you're going to go a long way. Most people don't even make it. Amy Winehouse didn't make it. Jimi Hendrix didn't make it out of his fucking 20. A lot of motherfuckers that were coming out of the gate that successful didn't make it. It's a lot. It's a lot of fucking pressure to put on someone. I'm not saying nothing negative. I'm just saying, like, it's tough to make it out of your 30s. 20s. It's fucking tough. I used to have a bit that one night I was just sitting there, I was talking to somebody, and they were like, I don't know what to do, I'm 28. This had to be 2 years ago in LA, years ago. And from the conversation, I wrote a bit, because I'm like, you know, in your 20s, it's a fucking wild, and I didn't write the bit like at home that night. As I was talking advice back and forth, I'm like, hey man, you know, being in your 20s sucks. It sucks for more reason than one. You get beat up, you get abused, you got nothing, you fucking get dumped by girls. You think that if you have a car, girls are gonna fuck you. That's not gonna happen either. You can have a fucking magic carpet. If you're ugly, you're fucking ugly. If you got no personality, you got no personality. That's me. All right? I don't give a fuck if you got a magic carpet with a fucking Indian guiding the fucking way. It's not gonna work out for you. So, but that's the shit we think in our fucking 20s. It's the dumbest thing. Listen, I could go for hours about the stupid shit I did in my 20s and what I thought and what I expected and how I thought it was going to just get given to me. Like, I really thought it was going to get given to me. I'm not lying to you guys. And then when it wasn't given to me, I started taking it. You don't think that was a problem? That's a fuel. That was an insecurity that I had growing up. And then I got to LA, and then you get in cars with comics. You know, here you just did a 7-minute open mic, and you get in a comic's car who's got fucking bat wings and machine gun turrets, and you know, and you're like, well, someday I'm gonna have this. How do you think I felt when I moved to LA and my best friend was Doug Stanhope? And he had the world by the balls, and I was one of his flunkies. I'd walk into a place with him, and people go, who's this fucking guy?